So this is the book. That's the machine. Here I am playing with a couple models that I've made. Here I am modeling the tracing plates, so I can create different textures and patterns, really break up all that complex stuff that was happening with those really expensive machines with simple plastic parts that I design custom, individual. Faberge did this in the 1800s with giant machines, basically a lathe that would wriggle as it engraved. So how can I do this with modern technology and on the cheap? Those machines are difficult to find. So here we have some plates of a design I was testing out. I always have to cut out some samples. We'll see how that you get a little bit of sawing action going on here. Right here I'm playing with 22 gauge copper. It's relatively inexpensive, good for samples. So once I figure out what these samples are going to look like and I can get the results that I'm after, then I'll be able to move into the argentium silver or gold plated, what have you, of a more intense project. So you can see a couple different designs here that I'm messing with. I had to custom make the mount that I'm taping this sample plate to. You have to hold things in place, and you can see that there's little notches, so I can rotate it at given intervals and play with the design that way. The key is to try to get it attached enough that it won't move as I'm digging into it with a diamond bit that you'll see here in a second. Nice and firm. You have to lock everything down. And this is just an old, but I mean not as old as the stuff I'm trying to replicate. Probably in the 1970s, 80s, Hermes flat engraver. So usually you would engrave things for, say, trophies or something like that, and you would have little numbers and letters that you would trace through. And you can see on the unit that there's little markings for controlling scaling. And so here I'm making the magic happen by hand. And so I can move through multiple plates. And they look really similar if you look closely, but they're actually just slightly off, just a little bit, in order to create the effect that I'm after. Once I figure out what this process is and what it looks like for me, this will allow me to create basically infinite number of plate designs and really explore textures and patterns that refer to old Faberge eggs or even really fancy watches. You'll see that they engrave patterns like these, but they generally use the traditional machine or a CNC machine, and here I'm able to kind of figure out how to do it by hand with plastic and 3D printing and CAD. So it's a lot of fun. Successful so far. Kind of hard to see in the light there. Everything's so shiny. Thank you.